Okay, great. So hopefully you've managed to open up a Colab notebook, and this is what it looks like. So this here is a cell where we're going to type Python. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import JAX and then import jax.numpy as JNP. So I'll hit Shift Enter and the cell runs. So the first thing, and really the only thing we want to do in this video right here, is just to create an array in JAX. So I'm going to do so in two ways. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want an array with some number of elements. So here I'll say I want 100 elements. And I want each element to be evenly spaced between these two numbers, 0 and 1. So I can run that. And now I can say, okay, what is, the type of X? And here it's going to be a device array because we're working with jax.numpy. And I can say, what is the data type of each element in X? So I can say x.dtype, and that's going to be a float 32. We can also ask, what's the length of X? And also, what's the shape of X? Just to name a few things we can do with this array. Now, we also saw in class that we wanted to create, be able to work with, an array where we specifically choose each number. So let's do this, right? We can say B is equal to JNP array, open, and then, square brackets. And let's just make two numbers. So 2, 3. So Shift Enter, we can, basically go through the same steps above. So we can say, what's the type of B? It's going to be device array. We can say, okay, what is the data type in B? I'll be int 32, right? We can say, what's the length of B? Will be 2. And what will be the shape of B? Right, and that's going to be, we're going to get this, what we call a tuple here. So one thing that might be surprising here is, why was the data type in X a float 32? And why was B an int 32? And basically the, the high level difference here is there's no decimal attached to these numbers. And so it's storing this number as a different data type. Right, so if we came back up here and we said, okay, let's make this 2, and we run that, now it's going to be stored as a float 32. So that's the key difference, right? And lastly, let's just make a small matrix here. So we're going to have 2 rows. So let's do, 12, 9 will be our first row. And then our second row will be, 2 and 3. So let's run through the same steps before. Let's check out the type of A. We're going to get device array. Then let's see the data type. So what do you think it's going to be? Float or int? Right? It's going to be an int 32, right? We don't have a decimal in any of these numbers. We can say, what's the length of A, right? Now this one might be tricky. You're saying, what's the length of a matrix? So it's going to be a 2 here, right? So it's just counting, I believe, the rows. We can actually double check this. What is it counting? So if we make it, have 3 columns, it should still be 2. Yes. So it's just counting the rows. And the last one, we can say, what's the shape? So what do you think the shape of the matrix is going to be? We've now changed it. So we have 2 rows and 3 columns, right? So that's going to be a 2 by 3 matrix. And that's exactly what we get. Great. So we'll continue on in the next video.